Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. This is your Manchester United West Ham preview. It's Sunday night, 7:15 kick-off at Old Trafford. We're coming into this game on the back of a 1-1 draw with AC Milan in the Europa League round of 16 first leg. It was a very average performance by Manchester United against AC Milan. And for large periods of the game, AC Milan dominated. AC Milan had 2 disallowed goals in the game, one for offside by Rafael and the other one from a handball by Kessie. And AC Milan had some very good chances in the game. The only real positive from Manchester United perspective was Amad Traore coming off the bench and scoring his first goal for Manchester United. He looks a good asset for the first team. We got Amad Traore in a deal worth £37 million. Could he be making his full debut for the club on Sunday? Harry Maguire, he had a chance in the game. It's the worst miss I've ever seen in football history. Harry Maguire had hit the post from a yard out. Martial had a good chance, produced a good save from Donnarumma, and Daniel James had a fantastic chance and he put it wide. Dean Henderson should have certainly kept out AC Milan's equaliser in injury time. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said the exact same thing. But Dean Henderson, apart from that, did well. He made some good saves in the game and he made some good claims. You know, Paul Scholes has been talking and he said we should have replaced De Gea with Dean Henderson earlier on this season. But Solskjaer was frustrated by AC Milan's leveller. Now, reflecting on that, AC Milan have got the upper hand because they've got that vital away goal. But I've got to say, Solskjaer was totally clueless in his substitutions. Now, we won our last league game. We beat Manchester City 2-0. It was a very, very good result. Wasn't only a good result, it was a very, very good performance. It was obviously goals from Bruno Fernandes from the penalty spot, and the second goal came from Luke Shaw. And we should have won by more than 2 goals, really. And I loved the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer approached the game against Man City because he showed tactical flexibility. We ended Man City's 21-match winning run. We are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. But this will be a tough game against West Ham. We're looking to beat them for the 3rd time this season, because we've already beaten them twice this season. We're beating them 3-1 at the London Stadium in the league earlier on this season, and we beat them in the FA Cup 5th round 1-0 after extra time. It was a goal from Scott McTominay. The game at Old Trafford last season between Man United and West Ham was 1-1. West Ham's last win at Old Trafford was back in 2007. West Ham are enjoying a very, very good season. They're 5th in the Premier League. That's very, very good to their standards. So they are in the top 4 race. And if West Ham were to beat us on Sunday, they would go just 3 points behind us with a game in hand. And we've got to give David Moyes credit because he's doing very, very well in his second spell at West Ham. Didn't do so well in his first spell with West Ham though. You know, David Moyes has made quite a few signings since he became West Ham manager. Obviously brought Jesse Lingard in. Jesse Lingard's made a fantastic impact since he's gone to West Ham on loan. Also, he brought Ben Rama in. He brought Craig Dawson in. Brought Frederick Ibsen in. Brought Vladimir Kufal in. And brought Souček in. And Souček has made a fantastic impact since he's gone to West Ham. So they're the signings that David Moyes has made. West Ham have got other good players as well. You know, they've got that Pablo Fornals. He's one of their key players. They've got Mikel Antonio. They've got Lanzini. They've got Jared Bowen. They've got Declan Rice. Don't forget, we've been in for Declan Rice before. They've got Mark Noble. He's been at West Ham for several years. They've got Issa Diop, who's a very, very good centre-half. Don't forget, West Ham did let Sebastian Haller go. I think West Ham made a mistake by letting him go because I thought he did very, very well when he was at West Ham. They've got Aaron Cresswell. That's a very, very good left-back. I think he's one of the best left-backs in the Premier League. West Ham have got some injuries. They've got Yarmolenko out with injury. Ogbona's out with injury. Randolph's out with injury. Musaku's out with injury. Ryan Fredericks, he's out with injury. So yeah. You know, David Moyes will be reuniting with Manchester United yet again on Sunday. We did have David Moyes for just 10 months. You know, he enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. David Moyes is probably the worst manager we've ever had. We actually finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. You know, David Moyes has managed quite a few clubs in his managerial career. Obviously, he's in his second spell now at West Ham. Managed Real Sociedad before, he was poor with them. Managed Sunderland before, he was very poor with them. I think he got Sunderland relegated. Managed us. And he also managed Everton. Gotta say, he did very, very well at Everton. He endured like 11 years with Everton, so he was a long-serving manager for them. And before, he was at Preston. Top 4 is Man United's aim. I can almost assure we will finish in the top 4. Reflecting on that win against Man City, but top 4 is not guaranteed yet. Now, the 7 players that are set to miss this game with injury. Now, the most recent player to get injured is Anthony Martial. I think Martial's going to be having a scan on his hip. He came off injured against AC Milan. That was a shame because I thought he played well against AC Milan. Also put a very good performance out against Man City. But then performances must persist by Anthony Martial for me to change my perception on him. Because for the vast majority of this season, he has been out of form. But last season he was good, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. He's been at the club now over 5 years. So hopefully Martial's injury is not too severe. Marcus Rashford, he's out with an ankle injury. He didn't play any part against AC Milan. Rashford sustained an ankle injury in our 2-0 win against Man City. Now, he did have the scan on his ankle. It turned out there was no ligament damage on his ankle. It was just bruised and swollen. Rashford is definitely a big miss. Edinson Cavani, he's out with injury at the moment. Donnie Van Der Beek, he's out with a muscular problem. You can say he's a big miss because he is a key player. But Donnie Van Der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. You know, most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer promised Donnie Van Der Beek more game time because he revealed that he's unhappy at the club due to his lack of game time. You know, we got him in a deal worth £40 million and he can play in 3 different roles, so he is versatile. And ESPN said back in January we rejected several loan offers for Donnie Van Der Beek. We was reluctant to let him go. Paul Pogba, he's still out with a thigh injury. The last game Paul Pogba played was the 3-3 draw with Everton. Paul Pogba's definitely a big miss because we do lack creativity in that midfield without him, and we are far too defensive. Now, Solskjaer said the other week that he's hopeful that Paul Pogba will return before the March international break. We was getting the best out of Paul Pogba before he sustained this thigh injury. Earlier on this season, he was out with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he's sustained a few injuries now at Man United. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. He's also been linked to a move to PSG, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. Pogba enjoyed 4 very good years at Juventus before he rejoined Man United a few weeks ago. He said we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba and it was £100 million. We wouldn't get that for him if we sell him in the summer, you know. I think we'd get from between 60 to £70 million. Now, there was narratives coming out the other week saying that Paul Pogba is open to staying at Man United after making a transfer U-turn. He's willing to discuss a new contract. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer suggested Paul Pogba could sign a new contract, and Solskjaer said that Paul Pogba is happy at the club. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract on Man United until June 2022. Mini Oriola said earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because Mini Oriola doesn't have a good relationship with the club and he has been criticised a lot of times. He made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mini Oriola's announcement. But as it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing. We paid £89 million for him, and this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Juan Mata, he's obviously out at the moment, but he doesn't get in R11. You know, we've got Phil Jones, who's still out with injury. He's been out with injury for over a year. David De Gea, he's still out due to personal reasons. But it'll be interesting to see how Solskjaer approaches this game. I'm expecting him to make some changes from the 1-1 draw with AC Milan. In the game against AC Milan, Solskjaer made 4 changes from the 2-0 win against Man City. On my next video, I will be giving you my starting 11 prediction for this game. I do presume that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference will be coming up at some point today. Now after West Ham, it's AC Milan in the second leg at the San Siro. Then we do play Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final, and then it is the international break. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's definitely not the long-term manager for Manchester United. I've told you, my biggest concern about Solskjaer is his decision-making, because in the vast majority of his games at Man United, he has been tactically naive. Yeah, there's been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he's got to show tactical flexibility persistently. And another one of my concerns about him, he hasn't got that proven pedigree as a manager. I do think Solskjaer deserves at least another season at the football club. You know, I've said already, Solskjaer's got to win a trophy at Man United to avoid the sack, because he's not yet won a trophy at Man United, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. A club of our stature need to be winning trophies. But yeah, Solskjaer's been clueless in a hell of a lot of games. You know, when we are inconsistent, yeah, some of the blame stems from Solskjaer. Definitely, he's got to take some responsibility, but not all of the blame stems from him. You know, if we eventually sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who is going to come in to replace him? You know, we can't sack him at the moment anyway, because as far as I'm aware, no one's available. Mauricio Pochettino was the favourite to take over at Man United. He was the favourite to take over after Jose Mourinho got sacked. Pochettino was in talks with the club, but Pochettino's out of the equation because he is at PSG. It wouldn't really solve a lot anyway if we sacked Solskjaer. I think Solskjaer's getting a new contract in the summer. I think it said Man United is set to hand him a new 3-year contract, so that means he's here to stay. Earlier on this season, it said that Ollie's future was in doubt because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. Solskjaer is into the final 18 months of his current contract at Man United. Reflecting now on his being at the club, though, he has gained some managerial experience. Man United is the third club in his managerial career. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. He actually got Cardiff relegated. Solskjaer did manage the Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched some of the team grow and develop. A lot of United fans said that we did make a mistake giving Solskjaer the job. And they also said maybe we give Solskjaer the job too soon. Maybe we should have waited until the end of that season to decide or not whether to give him the job. But he did well, didn't he, as the interim manager, so that's the main reason 2 years ago we give him the job permanently. I think the club's too big for him to manage, despite him knowing the culture of the club. Now, it's very, very good that we've got a director of footballing. It's John Murtough. He's our first ever director of football. It's good from a Man United perspective because we was in for a director of football for a while, and I did say it's one of the structural changes that we need at the club, and John Murtough knows the club well because he's been at Man United for 7 years. So hopefully now Solskjaer will get the backing that he deserves in the summer transfer window. Yeah, like I said, this year's summer transfer window is the biggest in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career because we do need to make signings. And Woodward recently did a statement, didn't he, saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, the board are backing him. The board haven't backed him enough so far in the transfer windows he has endured. Ole has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager, and he has spent, £260 million, something like that, nearly 300 million. And I've been hearing people saying that Ole's overachieving. He's not overachieving at all. You can say we've been lucky in quite a lot of games this season. So yeah, he has made some good signings, but he obviously hasn't got all the players what he wanted to recommend in as yet. And Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Ole, and he did say towards the end of last year he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Our board have got a soft stance on Solskjaer, with him being a club legend. Solskjaer's already warned Man United fans that we may not do business as usual in the summer transfer window due to the pandemic. But he said he's only interested in bringing in players that would be a perfect fit for the club. Now, a new centre-half and a new forward are the 2 priorities. There has been quite a lot of players on our agenda. You know the news on Rafael Varan. There's been narratives coming out saying that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Rafael Varan on one condition. Rafael Varan must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. So we have received a transfer boost in our pursuit of Rafael Varan. The AS, which is a Spanish outlet, they've said Rafael Varan has decided that he wants to come to the Premier League in the summer. Talks over a new contract for Rafael Varan have not settled. I heard he's valued at £61 million, but OK Dairo said that Real Madrid reduced their asking price for Rafael Varan to £43 million. There's been quite a few clubs in for him, and I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he's a very, very good centre-half. He's highly experienced, he's 27 years of age, and I think he'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Rafael Varan has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with them 10 years. He's made over 300 appearances and he's won 18 major honours. Real Madrid paid around €10 million for him from Lens. There's been other centre-halves on our agenda. The most recent centre-half to be on our agenda is Pau Torres from Villarreal. I think he's got a £43 million release clause that becomes active at the end of the season. Jules Koundé from Sevilla, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. Sergio Ramos has. Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, as you all know, we're in for Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland. It would be very, very good to see Solskjaer reunite with Haaland because Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Erling Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. And back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Erling Haaland, I think, is our number 1 transfer priority. We're looking to replace him with Cavani in the summer. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer did say he's following Erling Haaland's progress. And he said prior to the game against Real Sociedad that he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. I think his agent, Minio Raiola, revealed that there's around 6 clubs that can afford him. If Dortmund sell him in the summer, they'll demand in the excess of £100 million, maybe even more than that. We know next year he will be available for £68 million because that's when his release clause becomes active. But since Haaland's arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He scored goals, he can create chances, good in Europe as well. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. He's been at Dortmund over a year. Do you still think there's a chance we can get Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window? Our recruitment policy has been poor for several years, but hopefully that all changes in the summer. We're going to offload players in the summer, I can assure that. So in that aspect, we'll generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. There's a good chance Juan Mata will leave the club in the summer because Juan Mata's current contract expires in the summer. These are options trigger his contract for a further year. Matic, we could sell him in the summer. He's too inconsistent, and plus he's not one of our first choice midfielders. I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a slow player. Sergio Romero, do you think we'll offload him? Phil Jones, I want him to leave. Recent reports have said we're willing to listen to offers for De Gea, and we could sell him in the summer so we can make Dean Henderson our number one. There again, though, it says we've identified 3 replacements for De Gea. So we're looking at 3 goalkeepers, it said. That's Donnarumma, Mick Maignan and Jan Blanc from Atletico Madrid. We don't need another goalkeeper because I think Dean Henderson is now reliable enough to become our number one. De Gea is valued at around £50 million. We'll get around £50 million for him if we sell him in the summer. The Sun recently said that PSG were looking at him. Solskjaer warned De Gea earlier on this season that his number 1 jersey is under threat. De Gea has been a long servant at the club. This is his 10th season at Manchester United. But Solskjaer has been facing a goalkeeping dilemma. Axel Tuanzebe, do you think we could offload him? Because he doesn't get in the team. I think there's been narratives of him possibly going out on loan. Pogba, we could still sell him in the summer. Edison Cavani, there's a good chance he'll leave the club in the summer. But in regards to Solskjaer, I've got to credit him in quite a few aspects. We are second in the Premier League. We've enjoyed good periods under him where we've actually seen consistency, and there's been some games in them good periods where he's got the best out of the team. He's improved certain players. We've got a very, very good away record in the Premier League. We're in the FA Cup quarter-finals. We're in the Europa League last 16. Solskjaer got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season, lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season, got us to 3 semi-finals, got us qualification for the Champions League and got us 3rd. So, yeah, in total, Solskjaer's got us to 4 semi-finals. So, if I compete Leicester, that'll be 5 semi-finals he's got us to. But Solskjaer actually wants to get to his first final as Man United manager. And like I said, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he came in. But we've also enjoyed very, very bad periods under Ollie where you can turn around and say, yeah, he was lucky not to be sacked. But Solskjaer's being criticised a lot as Man United manager. Yeah, there's quite a lot of Man United fans that are Ollie out. Maybe there's still some Man United fans that are Ollie in saying he does need more time. In the last 8 years, we've been the same, inconsistent. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years. That's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd love to have been. You know? We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson, and that was David Moyes sacked him. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. We've overpaid for players in recent years. We've spent over £1 billion on players. We must have brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. But we need to see consistency from Man United. Because obviously then, that convinces your key players to stay. But if you're being inconsistent, then eventually that will persuade them to leave, you know. And as you all know, Bruno Fernandes is refusing to sign a new contract at the moment until he has assurances over the club's transfer plans. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.